What's going on, y'all? I'm Czar, and in this video we're taking a look at prestige racks from Noise Ash because they're running a flash sale where you can get this for just $29, and that's going to run until March 27th, 2024. So I demoed this briefly and I liked it, so I went ahead and picked it up at $29. It was a no-brainer for me. If you follow the channel, you know that I'm a fan of Noise Ash. I feel like they're really underrated, and of course I have a link in the description if y'all want to check this out and learn more about it or pick this up. So what prestige racks is essentially almost like a digital 500 series rack. We've got 6 different modules, and of course you can rearrange them any way you want. I've got them rearranged for the way that I want to process this vocal that we're about to use it on. But these 6 modules, we got Satura, starting with the first one, which is a tube preamp. Then we have Tamer, which is a de-esser. Medley, which is a EQ, which is a really interesting EQ. It's kind of like a Frankenstein EQ. Each of the bands come from a different, we'll say classic EQ. This gold knob called Sky, which is going to be an air band. The red, this high band is from a Neve style EQ. The high mid and low mid is from API style EQ, and then the low band is from like a Pultec style EQ. Moving over to the S4G, this is a VCA channel strip compressor. It looks very much like an SSL style bus compressor, but this is modeled from the channel compressor from a British console. Next to that, we've got the Division Reverb, and then we have Division Delay. For the master bus section, we have a gate and we have an opto compressor. A little weird to me having an opto compressor in the master console, but this is a tube opto compressor, and this is going to add some little more harmonics to the signal as well. We also have this analog button, which is going to add some of that analog hiss and hum, if you please. All right, so let's check this out on a vocal we got here. I've got everything bypassed, so let's listen to this vocal raw, and then we'll process it using prestige racks.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
All right, so let's bring this in. We'll bypass everything else for now. And let's start with this tube preamp. So we got drive, which is of course going to drive the signal. We can turn up the even harmonics. We have 2 tube types. Tube 1 is going to be a more thick tube sound, where tube B is going to be a brighter, more open tube sound. And then we can engage the low and high pass filters, and we have output gain at the bottom.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
All right, so for this vocal, I really like this tube 2, the brighter one. So I'm going to play it again, and we'll bring it in and out.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms.
All right, just adding a real smoothness and just opening up that top end, and it's really going to make for less EQ needed when we get to that. Let's move on to the de-esser, the Tamer. This vocal isn't really essy, but I do hear a few, but we'll just lightly process this with it. We've got the threshold, we've got a mount, we've got the frequency, which was at 3K. I'm going to go ahead and turn that up to 8K. Now, most de-essers don't give you the option to adjust the attack and release, and we do have that here. And we also can do 3 different types as well. We'll leave it here, and we can also listen to the signal, which of course most de-essers will let you do. Let's tame some of these S's.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds.
Okay, I think you should have picked up on that. Let's bring the threshold down some more.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. He lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company.
Okay, I'm good with that. Like I said, this isn't a really SE vocal. I feel like I'm starting to hear some distortion coming from the preamp here. Let's turn that down a little bit. All right, moving over to the EQ. Let's add a little bit of air just because we can. That tube preamp is opening it up a lot. But let's go ahead and add some air. Let's go ahead and pull out maybe some low mids as well. Let's engage these filters too. So with this, we got the low mid and high mid. We have parametric EQs, but when we hit the US, now it turns it into a proportional Q, which is that a API style EQ is. It has a proportional Q, which a proportional Q means that when you boost or cut, the Q is going to start wide and get more narrow the more that you boost it. And then we can engage snap, which if we know API style EQs have fixed frequencies, you can't go in between. Without snap, we can go in between, but when we have snap engaged, now it's going to snap to that next frequency, just making it more true to an American or API style EQ. All right, let's run this back and let's do some EQing.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment.
Yeah, that low band is really smooth. Just gonna add some 100 hertz just to give it some warmth.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart.
Now, so what's interesting is that with the snap-on, if you're also familiar with the API style EQ, the gain, it's not variable. Like it's fixed, stepped for the gain as well. And 2 dB steps. So I'm surprised that the snap doesn't affect the gain as well. The gain is still completely variable.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
All right, so for the EQ, we've added 2 dB on the sky band or the air band. High band, we've added another 2 dB at 12K. We are boosting 3K, 1.5 dB, cutting 3 dB at 240 hertz, and then boosting a little bit at 100 hertz. So let's play this and bring it in and out.
World, please quiet down. I don't wanna hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
All right, so the high band really opening it up. I'm gonna with the sky band, I took it down to 1 dB, and that cut we were doing at 240 hertz, I brought it up, just cut that in half from 3 dB to 1.5 dB on that cut. All right, let's move over to this VCA style compressor. Typically not my favorite compressor for vocals, but let's see what we can get here. I do hear one part on that phrase at the end that definitely needs some compression, but let's play this and dial this in.
World, please quiet down. I don't wanna hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna.
All right, that baby there, that definitely needed some compression. I think it handled it well. Let's listen again.
To each other, baby, make a promise that you're gonna be next to each other. Baby, make a promise.
And without it.
Be next to each other. Baby, make a promise. Be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna.
Okay, I'm good with that. It's still sounding loud, but it is sounding more controlled. I could definitely probably dial it in more. But when we get to the master bus part on the end, I'm going to add that opto compressor in too. So I'm going to leave that compression where it is now. All right, down to effects, we've got reverb and delay. Let's start with the reverb. So with the reverb, we have an option between plate and room. We can select, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Oh, we got, okay, 10 different plates. So I'm assuming we got 10 different rooms as well. I'm a plate reverb type of guy. So let's go to plate. Let's cut this pre-delay down some. Okay, low gain. Okay, so we got some EQ controls as well. Let's definitely bring up the high pass filter here. This is really nice. So this has ducking on it for the reverb and the delay, which I'm a huge fan of that. That means I don't have to set up one manually. So yeah, let's go ahead and run this reverb.
World, please quiet down. I don't wanna hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here.
Okay, so as I expected, the more we turn this plate up, it's just going to be a bigger plate sound. So definitely don't need a 10. Let's go back to maybe 3 or 4.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
Plate sounds okay to me. I prefer it over the room, but I'm not crazy about the reverb here. Let's get to the delay. Oh, let's dial in this ducking.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with ducking, what ducking does is it's going to reduce the reverb when the dry signal is playing, and then when the dry signal stops or the vocal stops, then that reverb is going to kind of ring out. So that's why you're not hearing the reverb. The more I turn the ducking up, the less reverb you're going to hear as the vocal is playing. So let's move on over to the delay now. So because this isn't set up as like a bus, really can't blend it the way I really want to, but this is going to run the reverb into the delay. And of course I could swap that around if I want to and put the delay in front of the reverb, but I want the reverb going into the delay. So see, we got feedback controls. Let's do, for the left, let's do a quarter. Let's do an eighth on the right. Feedback. I'll probably play and start adjusting that. So stereo, mono, sync, milliseconds. Okay, we've got some filters. And again, we've got the ducking. All right, let's check out this delay.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
All right, let's bring up the mix, and I'm going to bring it to a mono. I really think I need a stereo delay on this.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
All right, not a bad sounding delay. Not crazy about it, but let's move over to the master bus section here. I am excited to use this opto compressor because y'all know I love opto compressors. So simple controls, compression, gain. We can do pre or post. We'll leave it pre right now, but let's add this opto compressor in.
World, please quiet down. I don't want to hear any other sounds other than the beat of his heart as he lies here inside of my arms. I wish the time would cease, a moment you and me, no other company. I need a moment where we can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
Okay, so I love the way it handled that loud phrase on the end. I'm going to bypass this VCA compressor and hear what just the opto is doing on that loud part.
We can just be next to each other. Baby, make a promise that you're gonna just lie here with me.
Yeah, I like that. The delay's kind of growing on me, but it definitely needs to be dialed in. The way with this running in series like this, I just feel like I can't dial it in the way I could a separate delay if I had it on a bus. But I'm starting to like what it's doing. I'm starting to get kind of what I'm hearing in my head that I'm wanting. with this. Just got to turn this mix down pretty low. Oh, and let's see, we got a drive here too. Definitely not going to turn that up on this vocal for now. Okay, so that is the Prestige Racks. I think this is a really cool channel strip. I like the tube preamp. De-esser is good. EQ is really cool. That VCA compressor is good. Reverb is okay. Delay is okay. Still kind of weird to me to have an opto compressor on the master bus, but I like opto compressors, so we'll run with it. But y'all definitely comment and let me know what y'all think about this. I think for $29, at least for me, this was certainly an impulse buy, but definitely comment and let me know if you think you'll be picking this up for this sale that's going on for $29. All right. So there's a look at Prestige Racks from Noise Ash. Again, I'll have a link in the description if you want to pick it up, learn more about it, or pick it up. But definitely comment and let me know what y'all think about this one. All right, if you enjoy this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. If y'all want to continue to see content from me, then y'all know what to do.